Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies.
Hey guys, Mike Kalinowski again with DC Movie News Character Corner. Today we're talking about Steppenwolf. The reason we're doing this, guys, is he was just revealed today to potentially be the big baddie in Batman vs. Superman. So a lot of people on Twitter were like, you got to do one on this guy. So we got to work on it today. And this, honestly, guys, as much as I know about DC, this guy is not really too much on him. He's been around since 1972, so we're going on over 40 years he's been around. He was introduced in New Gods 7, created by kind of someone everyone views as the godfather of comics, Jack Kirby. I first saw Steppenwolf when I watched the Superpowers cartoons, and I had all the action figures in the 80s. If you were a kid in the 80s, you had these superpowered Super Friends. They were called the Superpowers was the line. They had a cartoon. He had this giant kind of axe, but it was a different. He had the goatee. What I remember, but he kind of had like a headpiece that he wore, like almost like a bald cap. So that's really how I got into the character. So I had to really go back and look at this guy. He is Darkseid's uncle. So that's kind of what he's known for. But even then, I did not know that until, as a much older reading comics. The best storyline with him when he started with is when Darkseid and him, they paired up and they went over to New Genesis to kind of start a war. That's basically all these gods the gods on Apocalypse are just these warmongers. The Darkseid, Kalibak, Desaad. They're just out there incite war. So, and New Genesis, or where the new gods are, they're kind of like the peaceful version. So they went over there causing all kinds of havoc. And wherever he goes, he just causes trouble. So that's what he is. He's been in comics for the whole time. He's always just kind of seen, though, as Darkseid's. He's always at his side somewhere. There's always these guys like Kanto that's there too, and Lashina. He never really has kind of stood out on his own. So to say that he's going to be the big bad guy and BVS is kind of cool because he's almost like a C-list, D-list character. So we don't have these preconceived notions of who he is, or no one's done him so well. We're like, oh, they got to do him justice. So I think it's a great thing that they're doing with this, because if he is at the end of Justice League 1, and of course the Justice League bands together and they stop him, well, he's kind of like the appetizer for Darkseid, which is the main course, which is it. I don't know if that's what they're doing, guys, but it could be. He's been in Justice League Animated, the Justice League Unlimited, which pretty much everyone knows and watches that show. He was in New 52, but he started off on Earth 2, where he's actually killed Wonder Woman during that during that series. So that was really cool. He's powerful. He's a really strong guy. He's a god. So he can hold up against Batman and Superman. But other than that, there's different versions of him. There's one where he's kind of green with a yellow face. But the one that's been pretty much well known is the Superpowers toy line. But now with this version, he was in Batman Superman in the deleted scene where you saw Lex in the Kryptonian mothership. And they're using that Mercury kind of way to tell the story. And we saw the character with he had the mother boxes in front of him, and he had those long horns. There was all speculation. We didn't know if that was Yuga Khan, which is Darkseid's father. We didn't know if that was their version of Darkseid. But now, with this coming out that Steppenwolf potentially to be the bad guy in Justice League 1, I think that is Steppenwolf in that scene with Lex. So they are definitely opening up the world, and it makes sense for at the end of that movie when Lex was saying, the bell's been rung, they've heard you. So that's that a god can fall, and that's signaling out there to Apocalypse and New Genesis and bringing those characters in. So it's a really cool time. It's a great choice personally, I think, for our villain in our Justice League, but we'll see. See you guys next time.